What if one Supreme Court ruling could change who has a voice in Washington? What if the next election isn't just about Republicans versus Democrats, but about whether entire communities lose their representation overnight? We're taking you inside a story unfolding in Alabama that has people asking one powerful question: is America's voting map being redrawn, or is history repeating itself? Stay with me, because what happened after this court decision could reshape Congress, impact President Donald Trump's agenda, and leave thousands of Americans wondering if their voices still matter. This story begins in Tuskegee, Alabama, a small town with a huge place in American history. It's a community where many families still struggle with poverty, where there isn't even a full-service hospital, and where people sometimes turn to the local fire department instead of an emergency room. One young college student, Shomari Figures, suffered a serious injury after a glass door shattered on his arm. Firefighters treated him, but when they told him to drive to another town for stitches, he made a heartbreaking decision. He simply couldn't afford it. That's the reality many families in this part of America live with every day. Now here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. In 2024, Shomari Figures made history by becoming the first black representative in modern history to represent Tuskegee in Congress. For many residents, this wasn't just another election victory. It felt like someone finally understood their struggles. Within months, Figures helped secure federal funding for a new civic center that would serve as a storm shelter while also housing emergency services. For a town desperate for investment, it was a major breakthrough. People believed things were finally changing. But then everything changed. Earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling that made it much harder to challenge congressional maps based on racial discrimination. That decision opened the door for Alabama to redraw its congressional districts once again. Suddenly, the district that helped elect Figures was transformed into one with a white majority, dramatically changing the political landscape before voters even cast another ballot. Supporters argue this is about fair, race-neutral redistricting. Critics believe it's something far more serious, a move that weakens minority voting power at the very moment communities finally gain representation. And that's the question dividing America right now. Is this simply politics? Or is it about race? Alabama's Republican leaders insist these map changes follow the law and reflect conservative values across the state. They argue both political parties redraw districts when given the opportunity. But civil rights advocates say that's missing the point. They believe race and politics in Alabama have been deeply connected for generations, making it impossible to separate one from the other. That's why this legal battle has become much bigger than one congressional seat. It's become a national conversation about democracy itself. Meanwhile, the people living in these communities are focused on something much more personal. They worry about hospitals, roads, emergency services, and federal funding. In nearby Eufaula, local leaders credit Figures with helping secure money for a desperately needed MRI machine and additional tax credits for the region's only hospital. Even some Republican local officials acknowledge they've seen him show up more often than previous representatives. Their concern isn't about party labels. It's about whether someone in Washington will continue fighting for their communities if the district changes hands. Now the political stakes couldn't be higher. Figures heads into November facing a much tougher race in this newly redrawn district. His likely Republican opponent is backed by major conservative leaders, including House Speaker Mike Johnson and President Donald Trump. If Republicans flip this seat, it could strengthen their influence in Congress and make it easier to advance Trump's legislative agenda. If Democrats manage to hold it, they'll argue voters rejected what they see as an unfair redistricting effort. Either way, this race is no longer just about Alabama. Washington is watching closely because one district could have national consequences. What makes this story so emotional is that many residents feel they're reliving battles they thought had already been won decades ago. Young college students say their votes are being weakened. Older residents who marched for civil rights in the 1960s say they never expected to face these questions again in their lifetime. For them, this isn't just another election cycle. It's about whether every American truly has an equal voice, regardless of where they live or the color of their skin. As November approaches, one thing is becoming crystal clear. This election won't just determine who represents one congressional district. It could influence the balance of power in Congress, shape President Trump's ability to move his agenda forward, and redefine how voting rights are interpreted across the United States. The outcome may be decided in Alabama, but its impact could be felt across the entire country. So what do you think? Is this simply the normal process of redistricting, or does it raise deeper questions about representation and voting rights in America? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this in-depth coverage and want more stories that go beyond the headlines, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next report, ****.